Welcome. It is our very first class for Rave Cartography. This is one of the foundation classes, and it's one that is hopefully going to really pull together many of the topics you'd been introduced to in the LYD and the actual ABC, but maybe go a little deeper in all the topics. And since we're spending quite a bit of time together, 3 months, much longer than your other previous classes, and we're meeting twice a week, you can imagine how in-depth and robust, I'll call it robust. When you really want to go in depth, you're going to see that that's available in some analyst training programs and certifications and advanced topics. But we have plenty to cover in this program. And since it is one of my larger classes, we probably will go a little longer today to get through introductions. It could be possible that any class involving our charts is going to end up being a little longer to accommodate it. I've thought in the past of restricting the number of people who can participate. I know some teachers do limit. I do my best to just allow life to unfold, and if there's a little bit more that all need the class at the same time, it tells me there's some reason for all of you wanting to come together, and I do my best to accommodate what is happening in the moment in that way. So let's go ahead and look at the journey we're going to take together. For those of you, by the way, that don't know me, my name is Carol Zimmerman, and I really am having the pleasure at the moment of welcoming some of you that have been in classes with me before back in the classroom, and some of you may have been with me in classes that were in the iVocalize platform. This is a Zoom platform, one that I'm getting more familiar with, but I'm not an expert in. So you'll watch me kind of learning every semester to try to get better and better at using and taking full advantage of this wonderful online environment. It's a webinar environment, quite different than iVocalize. And then for some of you, I've never had the pleasure before welcoming you into my class, so I would love to do that now. And I've been experimenting with human design since 2004. I had spent many years in my career as a top executive in some Fortune 500, actually Fortune 100 companies in the past. And then back in around 2000, I ended up, well, I now know looking at my design what was going on, but I really went through a major mutation and a major change in my life, and I decided I wanted to leave corporate America. I thought just to take a break, but I never went back. I ended up taking a sabbatical, and it looks like Wendy's going to join us. Hi, Wendy. Come on in. We're just getting ourselves started. And so, there was something about human design I discovered after I had left and was taking a break, and discovered a new career called life coaching. I got trained as a certified master coach, and then found this wonderful tool called human design. But when I found it, that was sort of the end. I just really focused on human design, and I still do as my full-time vocation. It's not just a job. I live, 24/7 with this material. And I have gone through, obviously, as much as the training. I never did a lot of in-depth training in the Rave cosmology, but in all the other topics. So I can teach more advanced topics. I'm an advanced teacher, but I just have found, and I think you will too in the years to come, that there is nothing more potent than what is on the surface for all of us to live out, and the foundation classes are key to that. So I will be moving you through this process of going a little deeper and hopefully synthesizing some of the information you can view in a chart level. And by viewing, you'll notice on this slide, it says the 4 views. Well, if someone was going to read a chart, you know, kind of communicate what they see at the surface of a human design, then the views that they're going to take is, first of all, what is the definition? What is actually defined in that person's imprinting? What is, you know, who they are as a life force, or, you know, if in the case of a reflector, one that is conditioned to, you know, really view life in the moment with defined gates in their chart. And then we have the authority is another view. Authority is, you know, how you navigate through life. You've got type strategy, which is your aura, allowing you to know how to correctly engage and interact with the world around you. We've got profile, which we'll find out at the end is quite different than maybe you thought. It is certainly a role or a characterized profile of who you are. And so we'll be looking at all of these topics. However, in the Living Your Design workshop, as an example, the focus was on kind of understanding how your body graph configuration pinpointed not only how you were designed to correctly operate and move through life, but where primarily you've been conditioned through openness. Because we're all entering into the knowledge of human design as you know, not children. I don't have a single one of you that is a baby in this class or a child, but you are, you know, you've lived a long time with areas that, you know, you may not have known how to operate correctly through. So that was the focus of the LYD. And yet, it was to really more objectively gain awareness of the conditioning you adopted and why you might start experimenting with strategy and authority. Now, as we enter into Rave Cartography, we're going to dive into aspects of conditioning again, but mostly we're going to be taking a deeper look at the defined nature, the roles you may be operating correctly, if you know, through as you live your design. But it's now more of a matter of understanding there's both nature and nurture through openness. And so we're laying out the foundation for sort of synthesizing and pulling together some aspects of these 4 views. It's really difficult to wake up, and I mean that from the standpoint of wake up to an aware life, if you're all in your head all the time. Because your truth is a mechanical truth. It's one of logical circuitry and definition. And so when we see the framework from which you can operate through strategy and authority type, and your type, your aura, how you're designed to engage with life around you, that's always a constant. And yet there's so much that allows us to see where your type configuration comes from, where your definition gets expressed uniquely as yourself. And so those are going to be a lot of topics to cover. And so our topics are going to be, well, today I'm going to go through a lecture kind of topic that was on some topics first introduced to you very, very, very briefly in LYD, a little bit more in the ABC, and I'm going to go through it again, this talking about our mechanical role as a non-honored human. And then we're going to look through this class at centers. Centers are kind of hubs. You could say they're really receptors also of conditioning. Hubs of the flow of energy that moves through the body graph is what I mean by hubs. And so we're going to be looking at centers in our next class. We've got Rave definition, you know, Rave meaning 9-centered, that comes from our channels, even the circuits that are the movement through this body graph with the channels and streams, awareness streams. So we're going to look at our life force definition in this class. We're going to look at authority. Again, our definition, whether it's, again, in this mode, split or quadruple split or, single definition, all those things. Some of you are quads. That's very rare, but we've got more than one in this class. And then we've got hexagram mechanics. That gets quite mathematical. Always gives me a little bit of a headache at the end of this program. And got profile roles and characteristics. And so the prerequisites to even be here with me today to start this journey is that you would have needed to have a certified foundational reading with an IHDS certified analyst. And I did receive an email from one of you that was saying, I still need to do this. I know that that was a prerequisite for the ABC class. I still need to do it. And I've been looking for, opportunities for that. So if you have that situation, do send me an email. And I do have an email from one of you I will reply to. And I'm not personally, even though I'm certified, I'm not personally able to do readings this semester. I mean, I keep thinking I'm going to still do them, but I just need to focus on a very full training schedule and be able to do that for all of you in a way that you deserve. So I will refer you to people I know that will do a job if that's something that's important to you. So yeah, we'll also, a prerequisite you would have gone through a Living Your Design workshop with a certified guide, and then your Rave ABC program that you would have gone through with an IHDS ABC teacher. So that's what we're all expecting as the foundation that you're bringing as we move forward. So our learning process in this program, kind of my style, because I am very committed to this knowledge. I am very committed to people serious about this knowledge. And I know a lot of you here could be on a path to becoming a professional yourself. So I take that serious, that I want to make sure I've covered all the topics in the material that was laid out by RAW for teachers to deliver in this program. And so in order to do that, I need to keep a lot of the other interaction, the back and forth, the questions, which are so important to your learning process. I sometimes have to keep that more flexibly addressed within our forum so that we can cover a lot of the material. And so the way I've designed this learning process is it's a mixture of all of it's live, when you're in the classroom with me, but I also am going to be offering you some self-study lectures, things that maybe I've recorded before, or primarily some things Raw has done as lectures. And those lectures by Raw obviously are very old. And so the technology will be not as current. The recording back then was very, very different formats. And so some of you with your more, modern technology may have to find old programs, like, things that can play audios that is not in today's formats. You may have to discover ways to kind of be able to play those, finding MP3 audio formats, things with Flash, because it was recorded with Flash. So I'll prepare you for that. I would still hate to not offer it, though, just because some of you might not be able to access it. So there'll be some self-study lectures. I'm also going to have what I call workshops. Workshop to me is a program or a class like this. You all came to a class today, but the way I prepare for those is a little different. Instead of my delivering material that is, really coming from the structure of the instructor manual for this program, I am basically taking a pause to invite you, prior to that workshop, to come to me with the questions oriented around the topic the workshop is covering. Because some of you we're all designed with different cognition. And some of you can just take it all in, take it all in, take it all in. You don't know you got it all in there, but you do until it kind of comes out at the right time that is pulled from you for the right reason. And then some of you are very focused in your cognition, and you move forward with exactly what you need to grasp, and you're really great at even self-studying in that way, except when you get stuck. And by stuck, I mean there's something that you can't quite pull together, or it doesn't quite make sense. You haven't grasped some of the elements. Maybe you need a little more detail or a bigger picture to see it all come together. And so these are wonderful moments to sort of stop and address these nagging little areas that we get stuck in so you can keep moving forward. I also have, through the experience of all the years I've been teaching, I also structure some learning for you that's one that takes you in a direction that may not be like just typical, kind of learning from that perspective. And so I may introduce you to some topics in maybe a little more experiential way. Just because I know for some people to grasp something, if you kind of twist the angle from which you're looking at it and take it in a more personalized way, sometimes that really helps. So those structured workshops hopefully will fill in gaps of understanding. I need you to post questions for that, though, or issues that you're needing. And then I kind of in the background before the workshop scramble to pull something together because I need visuals sometimes in order to address the questions. But that's the time for us to have a more customized kind of class. And then I also offer you through the lecture mode opportunities at the end for some reflective homework, or an opportunity or a suggestion, really an encouragement to practice continuing to develop your skills, keynoting skills, or ways to really put together and synthesize the material you're learning. That helps those of you entering into professional level classes later, so that you're really kind of always, practicing and getting yourself oriented towards looking at the chart in a certain way. And then obviously we have in our learning process, even though it's only one bullet, it is an important bullet for those of you that really, really do need to engage with others, because that is a very important part of what we are as humans, is interaction, but also deepening your process, sharing your process with each other. And so I encourage you to and some classes do really take advantage of the forum, and some classes don't. This one can be kind of an intense class at times. You may find it's just all the energy you have to just stay up with the classes, and you don't have a lot of left over to be engaging in the forum. And sometimes you'll find that comes and goes. So it's not as if I have any preconceived notions on what this class must do, but I want you to know I've watched many programs, and those that really get into the forum together, you really explore in a way that can't be duplicated. This is our schedule, and I had to put it on 2 slides. You'll see that we do have a break from time to time, not much, but we also, this is the first 13 classes. We actually have 19 classes. And so this gives you a feel for the material we'll be covering. So as you get your manuals, you can start reading ahead and, really be ready so that if you do have questions and, when you come to class, you can get them addressed. And I always invite you to bring those kinds of things to a class. But also, if it's a lot of in-depth explaining, those are ones to kind of leave for our workshop. So notice something, that what we're doing with this, let me see if I can get a spotlight. Okay, so what you'll notice is today we're doing intros, and I'm going to lay out the foundation of a lecture on the 9-centered being. And then we've got 3 classes on centers. And those are, definitely going to be very full lectures. So when we are done with those, that's when we're going to now say, okay, what questions do you have, so that we can start pulling together and isolating questions into what is called the workshop. This kind of structured, more, let's fill in the gaps kind of workshop. I'm also going to introduce some more material there on differentiation. And then we're going to go into, we'll start the process of talking more about definition. We'll start with also looking at integration channels. Then we're going to have a break for one day. It's going to be a Tuesday or Wednesday for some of you. And then we've got the individual channels when we come back after the break. And then I'm going to do my workshop on integration and individual channels. That keeps us focused on a certain circuitry. Then we'll do our collective, both logic and abstract, and then we'll do another workshop specifically on collective. We'll do the same kind of flow with tribal channels, and then a tribal workshop. And then that will bring us into another break. And that time we'll have a week. But you'll have plenty to do on your break. You'll see that we're going to be in the very next week covering one day on authority with definition, like quadruple and single and all that. And I'm going to have you do, kind of your own review again on that material to really get yourself ready for us to go and talk a little deeper about it. And then we're going to do type, aura, with the strategy that goes with that for all 4 types on class 15. And then we're going to wrap up this time together going through profile. Now, you were introduced to the lines of the hexagram in ABC, but we're going to look at profile and the context of your purpose a little bit more when we get into the last 4 classes. And yeah, that'll take us to the end. So you'll need, hi Annette, welcome. You're going to want to go back and listen to the little bit you missed, and I'm so glad you're here. So welcome to you. So we're going to have you reading, obviously, 2 manuals. There's volume 1 and 2 when it comes to Rave Cartography, at least in the English manuals. I know some of you are, well, there's people from all over the world here. So some of you have not received your student manuals yet, depending on where you are and how long ago you ordered it. So just be prompt now. If you haven't gotten your manual, be sure you do that sooner rather than later, because it'll take a few weeks for it to arrive. And you're definitely going to want these manuals. These are really good manuals. And when we get to the part on profiles, you're going to need to read this to really, I'm not going to be able to do it justice just in live lecture. So you're going to want to get these manuals. They're very good ones, and they're ones that is going to take you to a different level of understanding. You'll see that there's just no way we can cover the topics in the same caliber of time that you'll need to read that. There's recommended. Now, notice the difference between required and recommended. Recommended study materials, and I'll be introducing you to more beyond just this one. But recommended is also if it's time for you to start looking at charts and you getting familiar with the software of the MMI software, which is available through Jovian Archive. I'll introduce you to the different versions of it, so you know a little bit more about it. You don't have to do that in this class, but you may find your authority saying now it's time. And if you do, then the student version is probably all you really need. You can upgrade later, because you're not going to know what to do with the stuff that's in other software versions, and you can very easily misuse it if you don't know what you're doing with it. So I recommend just staying with things that keep you focused on what you can really learn, and wait to upgrade, because there's price. It's no different in terms of price. There's no reason to buy early. I'll put it that way. So what other kinds of study material would be oriented towards the topics and maybe helpful? Well, any one of these that I have on this list. So the Definitive Book of Human Design, gee, if you don't have that, that's probably a key. It's so complete in going through so many important aspects of human design. There's a couple of circuitry books too, but also the Rave book. We'll talk about, I'm actually in one of the lectures in the weeks ahead, I'll actually open up that book and show you what all's in there. So you have a better appreciation for, what you can look to that book for. There's circuitry books. I always keep adding Richard Rudd's circuitry book that was when he was affiliated with Human Design. He's done other work since then that's kind of a mixture of things that he sort of did on his own. So the one that I know for sure was still under the umbrella with, close affiliation with Ra was his circuitry book. It's still available, I think, from Human Design America. It's a good one. I refer to that one all the time. And Ra Ru has also been transcribed from lectures he would do on the Rave body graph circuitry. So there's a book on that too. Profile by type. It's interesting to think about profiles, but kind of also pulling together how that might show up differently if you're a different type. Just if you're a 3-5 profile, what is it like to be a 3-5 manifester or a 3-5 generator? They're different. Type is always a constant when you're really getting into differentiation. Then there's profile by, not just profile by type, but there's also self-study lectures and resources on both the Jovian site and LCIGDS site. I want to mention something just real brief. My view of the screen is different than the rest of you because as a host, I've got all kinds of bells and whistles and stuff going on over here. It's quite complicated on my side of the fence. But when you have something you'd like to say, you can just type in chat. And what I'll do is I don't see it right away like you might. So what I will do is every now and then pause, go up to my controls, which drop down from the sky, I guess, and then it shows me whether I have a new chat posted. So if I miss something from time to time, it's because I'm not seeing chats as they come in, but I do look for them. And if you do have something that I missed somehow, then you can always unmute yourself and say, Carol, I've got a question, or did you see my chat? So I want you to know that that's okay by me. That's truly okay by me. And from time to time, just because my setup will be different than yours, it would be good for you to know that. All right. And I also have those little honks. I don't have traffic honking in the background. If you hear honk honk kind of sounds, it's that my internet, which is very high speed, somehow goes back and forth between connecting, disconnecting so fast that it doesn't drop my connection, but it puts a little message up, which unfortunately then means it's hard for me to get to the control to change my slides. So, okay, here's that description I promised that goes through the different comparisons of versions of MMI. and I think it's still current. They haven't really changed it for years, and I believe the price is also current. And again, they haven't changed it for years. But there's free versions of the MMI software, and some of you may be thinking, well, what's MMI software and what is My Body Graph software, which is software that is produced in mybodygraph.com, and it was really initiated by Ra's son, Loki, who wanted to provide software which was just for your own self-study. You could on something and it would pop up and say what it is, etc. So that's for a very different use than what MMI software, which is really the software for those people who are students in classes of human design, and also on a path towards going deeper in being able to be professional with it. And so there's a free version. This was the only software that before MMI, before the My Body Graph, that was authorized. There's a free version you can download. That's just going to let you create charts. If you want a basic version, you have to spend a little money, and that will give you a little more information. You'll get access to some of the subline planetary data. You'll get to print the charts. You can export images of charts to your desktop. You can, kind of save your charts you create, or you can send them by emails. And then if you go to the student version, you get access to more things. Obviously, you can see what the check is. And then, again, if you were to get the student version but wait for professional or professional Penta, which, is really different certification programs, then that you just take whatever the price had been that you paid for, let's say, the student version, and they upgrade you at the delta between those two prices. So again, you're not going to have to then pay another $450. You would pay $250. And I'm not quite sure how that's set up. You might have to do that through email. So in terms of your opportunity to both study and integrate this, I know you kind of know this maybe at an intellectual level, but I mean, really, really know this at a human level too. Any kind of learning and understanding of human design is so personal. It's a personalized process, and it will take time. Even if you can grasp things kind of at your level of grasping them right now, just know that your timing for when it all starts clicking, or clicking in a even more profound way, is a reflection of your human design. It's also a reflection of your ability to focus. Some of you have got so many balls in the air. So it's also about your personal situation. So be patient and really, really enjoy the experience of all of it without any pressure on yourself to have to have grasped it all. Or some of you may feel like you've got a good handle on it now, and then I start getting into really, lots of details, lots of complex stuff, and you kind of go, I don't even know anymore. Now I'm really confused. Well, yeah, back and forth, you may feel that way at times, because until you really have the full picture, which to some degree is all the way down to advanced topics below the surface of the chart, it's kind of hard to see how it all fits in a way that is, I mean, because it is so in depth. But in addition to reading, I will offer reflective kind of homework or exercises to encourage your experimentation, but also to kind of, spark some sharing. Oh, I see your question. Pam says the upgrade from student to pro is, okay. Okay, well, that's good to know. So it's close, but you're not paying like whatever the retail full price was up front, right? And some of that also, what I should clarify is if a price went up, over the years, then it's going to be the delta between whatever the current version is. They do have, so they may have also raised some pricing. And we'll talk about Uranus in Taurus during the class. Probably not. Probably not. Because that's really not, because when you go back, I do want you to go back and listen to the beginning of the class so you'll see what all's going on for this class. We have a really, really, really full schedule for this class. Yes, yes, there is big shifts. There's always big shifts. The funny thing is, though, is it's not always a big shift for everybody, because not everybody experiences even those kind of imprinting the same. So it'll be interesting to see as you live your design what is in the background frequency and whether it affects you or not, because it really depends on whether it's affecting your purpose or not. So not everyone experiences it the same. And by the way, I have a little in our workshop on centers. I will bring in, if everybody wants to, it depends on all the questions. That's when I kind of get into that kind of stuff in that. I was going to set up an opportunity for me to show you transits and how you can use it to deepen your experience of knowing your centers. So kind of I am doing a little bit of that. So again, if you're interested in professional training paths, then to accelerate your growth, keep exercising your practice of keynoting. And I'm going to also encourage you to arrange study times with a buddy or as a group outside of our class time. And then as a component of our class, when I say teacher-led workshops, yeah, that's where we're going to hopefully address some questions that are, so if you post a lot of questions on the forum, this is probably something you need to know about me right up front. There's 2 classes going a week, and so sometimes it's just really me getting ready for the next class over and over and over. There's so much going on. And what I'm doing is I read every email every day. I may not reply to them that day. I may not reply to them in writing. I find, and this is just a weird quirk of my design, you would look at my design and you'd think that I would want to share and communicate all the time. I do, but I find this big split between my mind and what can come out through my vocal cords and physically writing emails back, etc., is a very different process. And sometimes I just don't have the energy for the physical emails or responding through writing, and sometimes I do. So those things are more variable for me. But what I do is I use the workshops to then collect them all and present it, because I find that I can do that more efficiently by bringing it all together at the same time. So sometimes you'll see that happen with me. So the discussion forum's great for any kind of class announcements or for sharing your homework with each other, questions, reflections. Don't hold back. It's there for you to use, and it really pulls out of me things I wouldn't have addressed or even thought of until I saw that was on your mind. So it's just something to note. But to keep those kinds of discussions, questions, and reflections based on the material we cover in this class and not something that's outside the scope of this class. That I do ask. If you have private things, not all of you feel comfortable just sort of sending things through for everybody to see. If there's something you want to communicate more privately, then just send me an email. If it's really oriented in a way that could benefit more people, I might ask or I may anonymously present some material from it in our classes, but I wouldn't put you on the spot that way. And then we've got, again, an optional thing for you to consider on your own is if you really do want to have time to study privately with a specific student, or you're, just someone on a personal level, we used to do that. We had study buddies in the way Linda Bonnell originally set up the program. And so you could do that too. You just have to arrange your own schedules, obviously, and you would have to post your private email on the forum, because I don't share emails with other students. So then practice, yeah, you can do all of these things on your own. So we're going to introduce each other, but because of the number of people in this wonderfully large class, we're going to just share name, where you are, so your location. I'd love for you to also say, how long have you been aware of your human design, anything along those lines. And then for presenting much more information that will allow us to relate and to get to know you, it would be great for you to add on the forum an introduction that talks about some of your personal interests, your, occupation perhaps, or some background, what you have a background in. You'll find that there could be some interesting people that with an interesting background of things they're involved in that you might like to really kind of, reach out and tap into too. Get to know people on a more broad scope than just I'm here to be a student. But also anything else you'd like to share or ask. I had someone in one of my other classes this semester say, hey, I noticed there's a bunch of people from Netherlands. I mean, it's unusual to have 3 at the same time when it's a smaller class. And they said, I'm thinking about, I just got some kind of astrology thing that talks about different locations that would be good for me. And I was told Netherlands would be good for me. Where should I go if I visit? I mean, it's funny to see how small a world it is. And so off they went with some ways to, and some of them are going to get to know each other physically. They're going to actually meet up. So discussion forum, the way you'll access it is through the IHDS website. It's under your registered programs. It's in our class, our private space. So it's in the Rave Cartography space. Just scroll down to the part that says discussion forum, and that's the link you'll click to view it. And if you want to post a message, just click on creating a new discussion and just give it a title. And then in the little blog area, whatever you want to share. And then when you submit it, it'll be emailed to everyone with the email you've used in your IHDS profile. So just like many social media places, once you receive an email from the forum, you can add to it by following the link back and logging in and then adding your message, and it'll go in that same string. Or if you're changing the topic, you'll be maybe brought back to the forum, but then you want to probably add or create a new discussion so that you're not mixing a bunch of stuff all in one string and then, making it confusing. So that's what I'd recommend you use for going through a little bit more in-depth introductions. So here we go. I'll go ahead and start off, and you've seen my chart maybe in other classes. You can see I'm a 4-6 pure generator. I've got a wide split between what goes on inside my mind and what's going on in my physical generative life force responses. So, for those of you who've been in prior classes, you've never seen me add the incarnation cross before. But since there'll be a time for us to look at right angles, left angles, and juxtapositions in a profile, I wanted to get that on our slides now. So I live in California. I have since the mid-60s. Before that, I'd lived in a couple of other places in the United States. But I've just made a major change in where I live. I used to always live in the San Francisco Bay Area, but I've now moved to the Monterey area. the, and right near the ocean. This is quite different for me. I'm not in the valley anymore, but I am. But I now get to watch little sea creatures too. So interesting move for me. And I was introduced to human design in 2000. It was either 2003 or 2004. I started taking my classes in 2004. And so I have literally, from the moment I found out about it, like many of you, I was so curious and so curious-minded that I began studying everything I could get my hands on. Back then, there wasn't much to get your hands on. So here I am today, looking forward to giving you as much as I can from my experience. So there's going to be 3 people in this program that, for those of you that need some language support, either because you speak Mandarin or you speak, Taiwanese, Christina and, well, I'll introduce you to all 3. Just so you know, they're hosting kind of this optional language support you'd have to contact them for. And a lot of you, that's why you're here, because you know this is a great opportunity to take this knowledge in English, but also in a way that you can sort of try to blend with your own native language in a way that you can understand more. And so, Christina, yeah, sorry, I just really ran out of time, and I've changed computers, so I didn't get access to an old picture of you. You just go ahead and send me another one, or I can find it if you'd like to. But would you like to introduce yourself and say hello?
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Christina. I'm from Taiwan, and I studied human design for over 5 years. And I've run through all the foundation classes with Carol, and also finished the PTL training, but I still am working on my homework. And I'm here to support people from Taiwan with their language issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. And we are all rooting for you to get that analyst training. There is so many people that need to get readings in their native tongue. Please, please, let's all encourage her to. But she's also so busy, helping a lot of students. She's really dedicated to this knowledge. So it's great to have you here. And this is Joanna. Joanna has been also supporting some classes with language support and well, not necessarily translations, but yeah, tutoring, I guess, because all of you recognize that getting the exact purest meaning of words, it's helpful to sometimes go to the root language for that. She's not going to be able to attend our classes live, but she's listening to where you're all at. She's gone through this program multiple times with me. So yes, this is Joanna. And this is Wendy. And Wendy, you're having a little bit of trouble with your internet today. You keep kind of bouncing in and out. Let's see if are you in the classroom right this second? I don't see you. Yeah, she keeps losing her connection. I noticed. Yeah, so we will just have you introduce yourself on the forum, Wendy, but it's nice to have you here again to support the process. And Annette, I don't know, and again, for those of you who see that I don't have a picture of you on the slide, I don't know if it's because you sent it and then it got buried in all my emails, because I was really short on time trying to do so many slides today. But if you haven't sent it yet, and you would like to, again, join the group with allowing us to get to know you, you think you did? Okay, if it's easy for you to resend, that would save me some time. And if you can't, oh, that would really help, Annette. Sorry about that. I'm just finding that, wow, this one's really, yeah, this is like 2.5 classes or 3 classes worth. So it would be great. Would you introduce yourself though? We'd love to have you do that. Just unmute yourself and we'd love to hear from you. Yeah, we don't hear you. So do you want me to, are you able to, here, I can unmute you. Let me try that.
Hello?
There you go.
Hey, it's Annette in Toronto. How are you?
I'm great.
I'm in the middle of a very busy shopping mall under one of the flagship stores full of gourmet food, and I'm about to get a lunch. I'm, of course, multitasking because I'm on union duties and I've got to go to City Hall soon and talk to some city councilors because it's pre-election time and we want stuff. So I'm up to all kinds of crazy stuff, but I think I'm going back to work next week and everything will settle down and I can attend classes properly.
Ah, great. Well, you know what? It is so exciting that we are in a time where you can still join us and still do what's important in your life. So,
This
welcome.
is just as important. I love it.
Yes, yes. And we love having you in these classes. You bring a really wonderful perspective to it. So, obviously, for everyone, did you want to share how long you've been studying human design, Annette?
Sure. It's actually years ago I started buying books on it. It was sporadic because I'm an astrologer and I study many different types of astrology. And it's mostly Western astrology, and I've gone back to classic astrology. And one of my focuses is uh, locational astrology. I pick places for people to live or for myself to live, and I picked a good place now. And it's all a learning process, but I've read some of the books by different authors who may or may not be authorized, I don't know. And I started looking into, let's see, Richard Rudd's, he has a different system which is more about contemplation. I think it's more of a mental thing. I like to study the structure of human design. It's not like I'm negative about what he does, which is very poetic and beautiful, but I just want to learn the bones,
Yeah, this
and
is
get
your
that.
system.
Yeah,
Thank you. Yeah.
yes.
Okay, great. So let's go ahead and I'll mute you again so we can move to, and Yi, I've also noticed you've joined us, and so I'm going to mute you until we get to your time to share. So let's go to the next slide. This is Cecilia. Some of you have taken a class with Cecilia before. And so, yeah, she's not able to be present with us, I don't believe, at this moment. Let me just do a quick scan of the list. Yeah, she's not here at the moment, but please do introduce yourself. And hopefully you can make a few classes from time to time. And so this is, do I say ding? I'm always, there's different ways, different cultures do their names. Sometimes the first names are not where I would think they would be, and so I get them all confused. And so it takes me a while, a few weeks, to kind of listen to names, to get them even pronounced close. I don't always say I'm a good master at that. But yes, I'm very anxious to have time to get to know you, an emotional manifester. And so I'm sure you have some stories you could share about that as a woman, because that can be quite a different experience than a male manifester. So if I think you had mentioned that you weren't going to be able to be present, and I don't see your name, so we'd love to have you introduce yourself if you'd care to do that.
Hi.
Oh, there you are.
Yes,
Ah,
I'm here. My name on the list is Sumana. Yeah, it's
ah,
different name.
okay. Well, you know what I'll do is so I don't get myself confused, I'll also add that to your chart. So great. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Um, I'm Sumana. I'm live in Taiwan, and I met human design about 4 or 5 years ago, and it really helps me a lot. Yeah, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank
I think I can introduce myself more detail in the forum.
That would be wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
So this is Grace's chart, and so Grace is working full-time in a busy job, and so is probably not going to be able to attend classes live all the time. So we look forward to you introducing yourself on the forum, and if you'd like us to add a picture to your chart, then you just need to get one to me through email. So looking forward to that, Grace. And this is Harris. Some of you have already met Harris in past classes too. So you'll always see them coming in together. Nick and Harris, it's a team. So if Harris, you're there and you can unmute yourself, we'd love for you to say hello.
Hi, yeah, I'm Harris, and I'm also from Taiwan. Let me see. I came to know about human design a couple of years ago, and but I'm relatively new here because I only started to take classes since last September, and this is my third consecutive courses with Carol. Well, there's a lot of things to learn, and it's a huge body of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
It's overwhelming, and I'm thankful that I got a partner to discuss who's already had a lot of knowledge about it, and so
Yeah.
I can discuss it with him.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That's about it. Thanks.
Thank you. It is nice to have someone that you know and you're close to be able to really kind of go through the journey together. And so, yeah, we'll be meeting Nick in just a few minutes. Here she is. Hi, Yi. I believe you made it to class and you're on mute right now. I'll unmute you. And are you in a place where you could say hello and introduce yourself?
Hello. Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hi. Finally, I make it. Because at 2 o'clock in the early morning. And yeah, I had a really hard time for those few weeks. My partner's in-law, my mother-in-law just passed away last night.
Oh, I'm so
Yeah.
sorry.
I thought I couldn't make it, but I tried. Yeah, so everything's fine now.
Well,
Yeah.
that's quite a shock. That's something that takes a little time to move through. So I'm very happy to have you here in class. And so yeah, I won't. I'll let you maybe share more on the forum in terms of an introduction. But yeah, welcome. We're going to have a nice few months together.
Yeah. Yeah. My name is Yi, and I'm from Taiwan as well, but I live in Australia, in Queensland. So we're having a few hours behind from Taiwan, and also I follow Carol for few class, and I'm not sure I got I don't know. I just love the human design, and I've been got so many clues to catch up with the human design, and then I decided to having a class, getting deeper and deeper, and I want to know more, and I would like to get into deeper for my life. So I decided to keep continuing to having this class, and I postponed my class from January till May, and no wonder it's a really difficult time for me, but I think I will keep going. Yeah.
Yeah, Well, we're here
Yeah.
for you, and we understand. I've gone through some pretty major changes. So life goes on, and when when you are responding and when you're clear to just keep moving, you don't know why until it all unfolds. So you just have to take every moment, every decision one at a time. And I know that you move from January until this. It was probably a good move on your part. I had to postpone my January class, and some of you were in it. You know, boy, I was going through quite a lot myself. So I'm a
Yeah.
little more stabilized now, probably a little easier for me to help you through it. So
Yeah.
welcome.
Thank you.
So this is Iris's chart, and I'm looking through the list real quick. Ah, there you are, Iris. I'm going to unmute you. There we go. Would you like to say hello?
Hello, everyone. I'm Iris.
Well, it's nice to meet you, Iris. Where do you live?
I come from Taiwan, Taipei, but I live in China now, near Shanghai. The name of the city is Kunshan.
Great. Well, I love the background of your picture. It looks like it's a very nice, pretty area. So how long have you been studying human design?
About 3 years.
Okay, great. Got almost halfway through your deconditioning. It takes a while, so welcome to you. Nice that you're here, Iris. And this is Jasper. And Jasper, I will add your picture. Now, I know you sent one right before class, and so I'll be sure to get it in. And would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, sure. Thank you very much, Carol. I'm Jasper. I'm Dutch, which means I was born in the Netherlands. And I live in Belgium at this moment. I've been aware of my human design since 2012. And I've been studying it really since beginning of this year. So this is my third consecutive class with Carol. And I'm really happy to be here.
Well,
I'm enjoying it already. So.
Yeah, you're a rare profile. I've just pointed out since we're going to go through profiles, and we have a few rare profiles in our class, so it's always fun to have a nice mixture of them. It brings the education to another level when you can see different varieties. So nice to have you back, Jasper.
Yeah, nice to be here. Thank you so much.
And this is, I think it's Lexon. Is that your first name or your second name? I always want to try to clarify that for myself. Would you like to, let's see if I need to, oop, may have lost you. There you are. I'll unmute you. Would you like to say hello?
I'm Li Xin. I'm from China. I live in Shenzhen now, and I study human design for 2 years. I see many people from Taiwan and want to say hello to you since we are saying the same language.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, it's nice to be able to go through there all of at the same time. You hit this one just right. Welcome.
Thank you.
Melissa is, let's see, I didn't see, oh, there you are. Would you like to introduce yourself? I'll unmute you.
Hello, Carol and everyone. I'm Melissa, and I live in Montana. And I'm a newbie. I was introduced to human design in January, and like Carol, just have, studied as much as I can. And because I am in a different time than when Carol began studying, there's all kinds of things available to me. So books and classes and videos and audios, and I've been full into it for the last 5 months. And I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. I noticed that in my fast typing this morning, I spelled projected, self-projected wrong.
Oh, yeah.
And again, just a reminder to any of you, if any of you see that there's something a little different in the chart that you have, I'm pretty sure I got accurate charts, but if it's something different about the chart I put up for you than what you think you've got, do send me an email. And if you've seen something that looks a little, wrong, I'm going to go back. I'm spending all day today really, again, preparing for our next class, but also rechecking some of the stuff from this class. I'm very methodical, and I didn't feel like I could do that as much this morning. So yeah, let's go ahead and just let me know if there's anything I can change. So nice to have you back though, Melissa. And so Ming, I'm going to unmute you. And would you like to say hello?
Hi. Hi, Carol and everybody.
Hi.
I'm Ying.
Ing. Oh, good. So I know to put that in before. Is it Ing, Yang, Ming? Is that how I would say?
Ming, yeah, Ming Ying, Ming Ying Zhang.
But your first name is Ing. Is that right? Or Ming?
My first name is Ming Ying.
Okay. Okay, then I'm going to leave it.
But just Ming is fine.
Okay.
I also use that, yeah.
Cool. And would you like to send a picture or?
I did.
Oh, you did. Okay.
Yeah, but then. I will send it again. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. That'll just save me a little extra time. I appreciate that. Thanks.
It's okay, fine. I'm from Taiwan and live in Taipei right now. And I've been practicing my human design since 2006. It helps me a lot, growing a lot. Yeah, so I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, you're not going to meet a quad split every day, so there's another one in the class for you, Ming. It's kind of cool.
Oh, yeah. Oh, good.
I know, kind of unusual, so it's nice to have you here.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Nick. Now we meet the other side of the Nick and Harris team. Would you like to say hello? I'm gonna.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Nick, and sorry, my English is very poor, and today I'm not prepared. I want to say something.
No, you said all you need to, so it is perfect. And I'm just, are you in Hong Kong or Taiwan?
I live in Taiwan.
Taiwan, okay.
And I'm learning human design. It's 1 year. Yeah, 1 year maybe.
Yeah, but you've taken a lot of classes. You've taken multiple foundation classes. You're in analyst training classes. You know a lot more than you let on. So it's wonderful for you to be here, just absorbing the language, even though it's, I know, a little bit of a challenge for you. So glad you're here again, Nick.
Yeah, and I see today some people is my human design HR classmate. Yeah, and I just say hello. Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
Good. So nice to have pictures in this class. I really I enjoy that. And here's Pam. Pam, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody. My name is Pam Burton, and I am excited, just like everybody else, to be here. And I live in North Carolina, in Charlotte, and I was first introduced to human design around 2016, but have only really been studying it for the last 6 months. So,
yeah. But you went through my infamous January class when
Yes.
everything was so crazy. And she made it. She made it. She survived. So she's here to tell about it.
Yes.
So nice to have you here.
Thank you.
And this is Patrick. And I'm checking to see if Patrick's with the, oh, you are. I'll unmute you. Would you like to say hello, Patrick?
Hello. Hi, I'm Patrick. I'm from Taiwan too. I've learned about human design for maybe through 2 to 3 years, but I only have started taking classes only from last year.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you sent me a picture. As I said, some people have, and I just didn't make it. So if you'd like to have a picture on your chart, if you could resend it or send a brand new one, or if you don't want a picture, then that's also your option. But I just want you to know it could be I just overlooked it.
Yeah, I haven't actually, so I'll pick you a good one and send it to you.
Okay, that's a deal. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's see. We've got Ray here. And so this again is a very rare profile, which I'm so delighted by, just having a nice variety of them. So again, I don't know. I have to scroll through. Yeah, I don't see her, and I don't know that I was expecting to in this particular class. So if you'd like to introduce yourself to the group, and also if you'd like me to add a photo that I may have missed, then just again resend it, and I look forward to it. And so this is Richard, and Richard, you're here. I'll unmute you. There you go. Would you like to say hello? Whoops.
Okay. Hello, I'm Richard. I'm another one from Taiwan. I am happy see many familiar faces in this class, and I have been studying human design just 1 year. In this period, I realized many about myself, especially undefined center, and I still try to understand myself to improve myself. So I still have many misunderstand. So I'm happy to back to this class. Thank you.
Thank you. Nice that you're here. This is Rick. Rick is another manifester. Would you like to introduce yourself to the group?
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Hello, I'm Rick Chen, living in Taipei now. It's so exciting to be here again. I had lived in Australia for 2 years and came back to Taiwan last July. Since then, I'm looking for something that I really want to devote my time to do. I started studying human design 1 year ago, and human design means a lot to me. It gave me a way to understand myself more and gave me the answers of all the questions I had asked during my growing up. In my design, I have the pressure to think all the time. It made me feel frustrated sometimes, but because people always ask me not to think too much, but I just can't stop it. Yeah.
Yeah, you're the thinker.
Yeah, or I always try to do something new or different, but if I didn't wait for the clarity, it might be in chaos. It's so cool that human design did tell me everything. Actually, I planned to meet someone to read my chart few weeks ago, but I canceled it in the end. I found that I do enjoy the process, that knowing myself more and deeper step by step during the class. As a thinker, maybe I think maybe it's a great choice for me to internalize the concept first, rather than being told how they
Yeah.
work for me. Yeah. So yeah, and I do love the human design. Enjoy the part that it won't tell you what you will definitely become. Every gates, channels, or centers will show totally opposite power depending on how you operate it. Yeah. So yeah, sometimes it's like again to me, trying to get the balance inside myself. But the only thing trouble me is the English. I need to preview before the class and watch the recording several
Yeah.
times to understand everything. Just yeah, sometimes it would be hard for me to give the instant response, even if I want to. However, it may be hard for me, but it won't stop me. As my design, I enjoy challenges. And thank you so much, Carol. You are a very friendly and articulate teacher. I'm so glad to join the class, and I just can't wait for knowing more about the human design. And in the end, I want to share my maybe a Line ID and a WhatsApp ID. Everyone there, I'm so surprised there are so many classmates from Taiwan, and I would love to initiate a reading group if anyone wants to just starting it with me. So I will share it on the maybe just a check run.
Wonderful. Well, I can hear the enthusiasm coming out of your 16th gate, and it's always unconscious for you. So it's really fun to watch a person just absolutely loving being who they are. And I can tell you're really coming alive. Welcome. This is Seema. I don't know if I say your name the way you would. And you had mentioned you just got a brand new job. And so she wouldn't be able to be here today. She sent me several pictures. Boy, did I have trouble finding. I wanted a little bit of each one of them. So maybe in the course of the class, you never know, I may change from time to time just to get them all in. But it's so nice to meet you. And I look forward to having you introduce yourself to the group if you'd like to. In the meantime, when I looked, and obviously I did mention to you at the beginning of class, we had a really big class, and I did want us to all have a chance to go through our introductions. It's actually the end of our time, and here's what I've thought of doing. I'm going to go ahead and end this recording, and I'm going to then start another recording, and I'm going to go through a very in-depth presentation on the Nine Center Being. And all of you are invited to stay, or you can also just recognize that it's a lot of time you've been sitting already, and you can just leave right now. I will record this lecture on the Nine-Centered Being, and you can, and then I will upload them both as separate recordings. That way all of you can, you know, again, if you'd like to take a nice time, you can come back refreshed and listen to the download. It'll be there for you, and you can do that. Does that sound like a good option, since it is, we have been going for quite a while, and I don't want to delay the material, because I do think we want to keep going, and I will want to do the centers next time. So would you like to do that? Would you like to just decide for yourself if you're going to listen to it now or listen to it later? And again, I will stop the recording and I will make a brand new one so we can keep them distinctly different. So that's my proposal. And I guess some of you are emotionally defined and also trying to think about it. So whatever you decide is absolutely okay. Absolutely okay with me. So in the meantime, I will end the recorder,